Hey, better late than never. It is 10:18 here on a Friday night, March 22nd, 2024. Rick Ucchino, Dutch Mantell, SP3 here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and WrestleBinge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel, breaking down everything that happened on a Friday night SmackDown. I am still a little sick, so don't mind me here tonight. But hey, at least my power's on and I can be part of the show. So hey, we're already off to a better start than we were last week. Guys, how we doing? I missed you.
Yeah, we missed you last week too.
We did.
We really missed you. Really.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. I don't know if that's 100% sincere, but I appreciate it.
You've been missed. What? You can't say you've been missed. Jesus Christ.
So some guy took out the transformer down the street, so I had some issues.
I know. I made my jokes that Optimus Prime and the Decepticons. You said something about Transformers. I was like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I appreciate everybody. I'm happy to be here talking about what I thought was a really, really good episode of SmackDown. Right up until the end, honestly, here, guys. Do we want to start at the end and then work our way back to the beginning? Because this whole night was built around Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes going face to face, and the big exchange this past week with Paul Heyman. You show up alone, and Roman Reigns will show up alone, and it's like they're setting up before the big showdown at the OK Corral. And then we got what we got tonight, which was, I hate to say it, guys, was anybody else bored out of their mind watching this segment tonight between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? Dutch, what did you think of this exchange?
I'm pissed off. This show was nothing like I thought it would be.
Okay.
The rest of it is just maintenance. I got that. But this thing with Roman and Cody, I know we're filling time to the match, but this actually took it something away from the match, I think. I mean, if you're sitting there and if somebody hadn't seen any of this, and all of a sudden you're watching it, and they would look at me and say, "Wait a minute, I don't get it," and I'd have to say, "Well, I don't get it either. I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. It was boring as hell. I wish I'd have had some damn heroin. I would have shut up the heroin, so just to have something going on. It was just, if that, you're not going to hit a 110% every week, but this had missed the whole mark. It missed it totally. So I think they need to go back and do one of those old Dusty interviews where he just goes wild out there. But they stood there and they just back and forth, talking very calmly, and didn't even talk about the match.
No, they talked more about the tag match than anything. So Reigns comes down to the ring. He says he's alone, but he's not alone. Paul Heyman is there, but Paul Heyman's no physical threat, so I guess Paul Heyman doesn't count, right? And Reigns said as much. Cody comes down to a big pop. Reigns calls Cody a fool. He says he's stupid for showing up by himself, for aligning himself with Seth Rollins, who can't be trusted. They run down the Shield history for the 100 millionth time in WWE history. Cody says Seth may hate his guts, but
wait a minute. This is even boring. This is even boring. You just going over it is even worse. Now you're reminding me of it again.
And here's the thing, Dutch. I'm going over this in like 60 seconds. They stretched this over 14 damn minutes.
Hey, to be fair, because WWE is a little slow on the uptake. Something that I wanted from the build of last year's Cody versus Roman feud was acknowledgement of them previously facing in a very important feud of the Rose family versus the Shield. We finally got acknowledgement of that in this promo. It's just that it feels like a year late. So I do understand y'all criticisms of this promo exchange.
Honestly, the best line came from, so Cody comes back and he says, "Oh, but can you really trust your partner? Can you trust TheRock? Who's really in charge, the tribal chief or the final boss?" And then the best line was when Roman said, "You said that same stuff a week ago, just in reverse. You are the true embodiment of a politician. You are full of empty promises. None of them ever come to fruition, and you want to know why? We could stop there, by the way, because that was the best line. Calling Cody Rhodes a politician through and through, he's right. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. He 100% is a politician.
By him calling him a politician, that means, was that it?
But
you're thinking, my God,
I liked it. I liked him saying that. That was good. I started laughing when he started going in.
If that
he was
is
like,
the
give
best
him
thing
your
said.
babies. Give him your babies to kiss. Like,
that's the thing. If you look at everything that Cody has done over the last year, staying late, shaking hands with everybody who's been there. He was the best man at somebody's wedding. He did a gender reveal one night. Like he's doing all these special things. He is a politician through and through. And like I said, not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just what guy's been doing.
It made Cody come off like a politician and Roman come off like the world champion boxer or sports athlete. That little line, that's what it came across as. And I don't know if that's the most, productive line, because in my eyes in wrestling, I would prefer the world champion athlete over the politician. And Cody's supposed to be the baby face here.
It's kind of like they split Apollo Creed into two people. Anyway, go ahead, Dutch.
No, I'm saying listen to the people. They didn't have those big pops like they had last week.
Well, when you have huge climaxing lines like, you're the greatest number 2 of all time, and I'm going to be number 1 forever. 6 days, not even 6 days, 5 days after you had Cody Rhodes calling TheRock a bitch and saying he had little dick energy, you can't back off. They ramped it up with Cody Rhodes, and then they brought him back down to neutral. You can't do that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you think that Roman and Cody, for what they said last week, they got a good talking to over the last week or so? Told them to ramp it down, and the writers too. Do you think anything was said?
No, I just think anything involving TheRock, you throw the rules out the window, and then anything else, you have to stay within the rules, and it doesn't work. I
always go by if the live crowd was into it, and they still popped for some of these lines. They were into it. I thought this was good. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was the best Cody and Roman exchange that we've seen. And I am more leaning towards Dutch. I thought the show overall was just boring. I nearly fell asleep during that Street Profits Authors of Pain matchup. Like, it was just a really paint by the numbers. I know who's going to win all these matches. I know how all these matches are going to go. So, like, let's get this on the road. I wanted to get to this main event segment, and then it was just good. It was pretty much what I would come up with the Cody versus Roman Reigns, because we got an answer. It was really like WWE did a test with this final segment, and it was to teach them of a fact that we know after this segment. Cody versus Rock is hotter than Cody versus Roman.
Well, we've never seen that before, right? I mean, you still have a large contingency of the large portion of the WWE audience who, look, we just saw Cody and Roman last year. We're getting it again this year, but there is that new inclusion of TheRock. But when you bring in somebody like TheRock, it's going to overshadow everything, Dutch. And more people are interested right now in this tag team match than they are what's actually going to be the main event, which is why I think Rock and Roman are winning on night 1, because you got to bring TheRock back for night 2. You got to do the whole bloodline rules thing and have Cody overcome even more adversity to win the WWE Universal Championship.
I'll be so goddamn glad when they finish this story.
You, Cody, and everybody else.
Please finish the effing story. I got it. but I don't know. I was trying to pay attention to some of it, but then it got to the end. Takes them forever to get into it. But
and then it looked like they wrapped up with 3 minutes left. And over the course of the next 3 minutes, they play Roman's music. He snaps his fingers. And then we get Jimmy and Solo coming down. and they got the ring surrounded. Oh man, Roman has outsmarted the babyface once again. And then they give up their positioning. They walk up to the ramp and they stand shoulder to shoulder with Roman. So now Cody actually has outs. But then over the next a couple more seconds, we see Jay and Seth show up. They're like, oh, Cody wasn't outsmarted after all. And then we just get a stare down in the camera and we fade out.
Maybe he was outsmarted. Maybe he didn't tell those two to be there, but they're smarter than he is. They showed up. They could see it coming. Did you see the look on Cody's face? Like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, if he'd made this up, wouldn't he know they were going to be there?
Yeah,
I'm putting too much thought in this shit. Stop me.
Yeah,
you guys need to say, stop it, Dutch. You're out of line. Yeah,
you're out of line because Cody knew this all along. You saw the big ass grin on his face when Seth and Jay came coming across the line, and it was that opening line where Cody said, "If you're alone, then I'm alone too." Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If anybody shows up,
he gave that away with that opening line. And there was some good lines from Cody, like him bringing up his bullet cufflinks when he was talking about stables, and he knows about stables and betraying some people when he was off doing something, referring to what Roman always says about Cody's time outside of the company. So I like the little lines that they did here. Like I said, I thought it was good, but it's just like, do I really want to see Cody versus Roman too? Not really. I don't want to see it more after this segment.
Well, I think it drug, then it drug more. Then it drug a little more. This
whole show drug.
Then I was hoping I was on drugs myself to get through it. You guys need to stop talking like this. You need to be given a talk to, Rick. For talking like that.
We got a super
the
chat.
Final boss.
We got a Swazi with a super chat here. Final boss Tribal Chief is a main event match. You really want the WWE title to be overshadowed by the bigger story. Roman will win. I don't know if Roman's going to win. I'm still leaning towards Cody. All the bettors are leaning towards Cody. I think it just makes the most sense to go ahead and finish this off now instead of trying to stretch this out for another year or have Rock be the guy who beats Roman a year from now. I don't know. We'll see. I thought Cody had it signed, sealed, and delivered last year, so I'm not betting on anything. I still think we're going to get Roman and Rock at a WrestleMania probably next year at some point.
You're not thinking long game, guys. It's Rock versus Cody next year. Rock beats Cody to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, and then they do a Rock versus Roman for the title at 42.
Yeah, and he's the final boss. Then he turns around to really get heat, and he fires Cody just to piss everybody off. They'd all hate him then now. Say, Cody, get your ass out of here. I'm tired of looking at you.
Send in any more super chats. We'll try. I know a lot of you guys have been sending comments in through the chat here. We'll get to as many of them as possible. I'll try to pick a few of them when we actually get to points in the show for what you guys are saying. LJ Robinson saying MJF will help Cody. I don't think so. As far as we know and believe,
who said that? LJ Robinson.
As far as we know, MJF is still under AEW contract. He's also hurt right now. I don't see that one, but
he was removed from the AEW roster.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
he was removed from the AEW website.
And his merchandise was taken off the AEW shop website.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, digital teams would never be part of a work or a story at all.
They would not do that.
No, they would not. No. Absolutely not. Gentlemen, let's hop back to the beginning of the show. We open up with Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. Yes, we do. This match had a bit of a sloppy start. Rey, who's usually pretty crisp.
It wasn't that good.
Slipped on a springboard attempt. I thought he re-hurt his knee. I thought Santos hurt himself trying to help him out. I thought they picked it up after that. Rey looked a little rusty coming back from injury, just a little slow. But again, I thought they picked this up. I was expecting more offense out of this match for Santos. I wanted this to be more of a showcase for him. It was a lot of Rey playing the hits. One thing that I loved here, guys, the presentation of the shows ever since Kevin Dunn left and the new stuff that they are trying is so dang refreshing. I loved the camera. Instead of 19 million cuts, keeping it on the one baseline camera as he worked his way around the ring. I thought he got a great shot underneath of Rey Mysterio diving off the top of the turnbuckle down to the floor and really showcased just how far he's falling, 10 or 12 feet or however far that is down to the floor. I thought that was a really great presentation of that. Again, the match overall was what it was. I thought the Rey hitting the seated senton off the announce desk was a good little spot. What do we make of Dominic Mysterio, though, being the guy who shows up?
I love that.
Lost Rey the match.
Dominic Mysterio, he is a heel. And he's a heel you enjoy. Because you feel like slapping him every time you see him. And he's out there. He's an ultimate heel. And he can see heels like that, you can beat them. And it doesn't hurt him. It actually helps him, I think. But they don't like him. And when he showed up tonight, and when I saw that, I went, now, who in the hell is this? Of course, I kind of had but he didn't look like him underneath that hood. And then he pulled it off and it was him. But so that part was it was my most favorite part of the show. The Dominic unveiling, I would say.
Frantic World asking, are they really going to be doing Rey versus Dom again at WrestleMania? I thought Rey versus Santos was a match that they could have done at WrestleMania. Obviously, they're not going to go that direction now. I thought if they didn't go that direction, it was going to be some kind of LWO versus Legado del Fantasma mixed tag match. Maybe they incorporate Dom. Maybe they incorporate Andrade. Maybe this is a bigger mixed tag team match than I originally thought. SP3, what do you think? How do you think Dom shakes things up here?
I mean, Dom getting involved here was interesting. I thought the match overall was not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was just a solid matchup. I thought that Nick Aldis added a stipulation, but I guess the stipulation was none of the other faction members could be at ringside.
Correct. Yeah.
That's not a real stipulation. But anyway, but they got it together towards the end and it got better. And then Dom getting involved was a nice little finish that I didn't see coming, but I was just very confused by. I was like, we're going back to Dom and Rey already?
The hell?
I was like, we're going back to Dom and Rey already?
I mean Dom
is Rey that hurt that we have to rush going back to Dom and Rey and he's going to retire? Because I feel like that's the only reason you should do Dom and Rey already this year is that Rey saying, I might not have another chance to have this rematch where I put my son over at WrestleMania, so let me do it now. So, yeah, it makes me lean towards Rick's belief of this is just Dom being added to whatever multi-person matchup. And if the point of this matchup is to put as many people on the card, then make it a 12-person tag team match.
Then we need to be put on the card.
Give me
honestly
LWO, because LWO got Rey, Carlito, Dragon Lee, Del Toro, Wild, and Zelina, and they face Legado del Fantasma, Santos, Wild, Santos, Angel, and Berto, and Elektra, and then team them up with Dom and JD.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you something, Rick.
Put them on the card. Just
honestly,
throw everybody on the card.
You know what?
The point of it is throw people on the card.
The only thing that keeps that match, by the way, I hate to say this, but the way that they treat the SmackDown before Mania as like the WrestleMania pre-show, I think the only thing that keeps that match off of the SmackDown before Mania is the fact that they would want to put Rey Mysterio on the main card. Like, in all honesty, like he's still one of their bigger draws, one of their bigger stars. Like, I don't feel like the Legado del Fantasma feud and the Final Testament feud both make it onto the Mania card. I feel like one of them is going to wind up on the SmackDown, unfortunately.
Oh no. Street Profits are going into the ladder match. They said bye. They said peace out. We're not doing that because we don't even have a name yet. They didn't even give them a name. We were sitting here nearly, what has it been? It's been like 10 months of them being a thing, and they haven't even gave them a name, ladies and gentlemen.
Hadn't given who a name?
The Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. He's talking about, I don't think the final testament. I don't. You should have stopped right there. I don't think the final testament is making the Mania card.
Rick, let me ask
I
you
don't
something.
think the Street Profits are making the ladder match. Like, that to me screams like it's Grayson Waller and Austin Theory that are making that match.
I think they're throwing Judgment Day in there with a whole bunch of babyface tag teams.
Maybe. Well, let's get to our first tag team match. Oh, wait, excuse me. Sorry.
Rick,
hang on. Yes. What?
I got a question.
Yes.
I read this week Nick Aldis was had to go to hospital, or was that just, or did I read that?
It was a ruptured bicep, I believe is what it was, and he had to have surgery.
Oh, he did have surgery. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
But they made it sound like he was close to death, what I read.
I just read that he had bicep surgery. That's all I really read into that.
Okay. So he's okay.
Yeah, he was fine. He had his arm taped up. He was able to do his duties. He's good. Everything is good to go. We wish him a speedy recovery.
Oh, I do too.
We got a backstage segment. Naomi stretching for her match tonight against Io Sky. Bayley comes up. Thanks her for having her back last week. Bianca comes up, though, and she is pissed that Naomi is getting drug into all of the damage control drama. She wants Bayley to basically reap what she's been sowing for the last 2 years and says, hey, you deserve every single damn thing that you're getting. Then we take a break. We come back because Naomi basically drugged Bianca off. Like, let me holler at you for a second. Let's go chat. Cool your jets here a little bit. We come back from break. We see Cody signing some stuff. They walk past him. Naomi says she understands how Bianca feels, says it's valid, but says she can't do anything about the past. She's not going to back down from damage control, but says she cannot take them down alone, just like you could not. A couple weeks ago, we saw Bianca and having her issues still with Bayley, and everybody's like, oh, they're teasing a heel turn here. They're teasing a heel turn. I'm not seeing that at all here, SP3. This just to me is logical, simple storytelling where the baby faces don't have to like each other. And we need to get used to the fact that sometimes WWE is going to start doing stuff that makes sense now. That's just what this is. This was very, very simple. I know we're not accustomed to baby faces being nuanced and not liking each other just because they're all good guys. But this was, I enjoyed this tonight. I like the backstage thing. I like the fact that that Bianca ain't ready to hop on the Bayley train here.
I would say this was the best thing on the show. The backstage segments with Bianca and Bayley, and then Bianca and Naomi. I thought everybody played their roles well in being baby faces. And the reason I had the confused face on is because I don't understand why people are like confused, or I really feel like the fans that you're saying everybody everybody thought it was a Bianca Belair a heel turn tease. Those everybody's are just hopeful that they want Bianca Belair to turn heel, or they weren't paying attention to just last year's WrestleMania build, because this is just Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn again. This is exactly what they did last year with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, where Kevin Owens held Sami Zayn accountable despite Sami Zayn turning babyface. He held him accountable for everything he did with the bloodline. And it took weeks before they came together to take down the bloodline. That's all that's happening again with Bianca and Bayley, and they're playing their roles well in doing it.
Same thing with Seth and Cody, to be honest. They weren't buddy-buddy just because they were both, magically baby faces.
That wasn't done as well, so I wouldn't use that as an example ever.
But I'm saying we're getting more and more examples of this. But again, you have people who look back to the older ways of doing things, and now we're starting to get back into this. Hey, look, just because I'm a good guy and you're a good guy does not mean that we vibe. I'm not just going to automatically forgive the sins of the past because we have somebody who is actually in charge, who remembers what he did 6 months ago, except in the case of who left the bloodline first between Jimmy and Jey Uso. But,
Yeah, the reason why I had to bash the whole Seth and Cody thing is because Seth has done this multiple times with multiple different people. The best time he did it was with Dean Ambrose in 2017, and every other thing has felt like a rehash. It's felt like a rehash. And then the Cody and Seth thing before Survivor Series, it felt like 2 weeks he was very angry at him, and then 1 week he just said, "Okay, we're gonna be good for War Games." It wasn't any nuance to that. There was nuance to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. There's nuance here. That's why I feel like those two are more comparable.
Dutch, any thoughts, comments, concerns?
No.
Okay. Our next match of the night was A-Town Down versus the OC. First off, just shout out to Michin for giving a picture-perfect arm drag in high heels and a short skirt to Grayson Waller. She's great. Love her. OC dominate most of this match. Theory and Waller end up stealing the win with a roll-up. Look, I just think it was nice to see the OC actually, get to do some work on the main roster. I know they've been doing their thing down in NXT for a little bit, but I can't remember this much action from the OC on the main roster in a long time, guys. Like, when was the last time?
They got a talking to. That's what happened. I think everybody got a talking to tonight. They say, "Would you step into the office?" And everybody got their little butts chewed out. So we're going to do things. It's changing, so get with it.
SP3, what do you think of this one?
It was a match.
He just said the whole show was boring.
like there was a lot of.
It hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't.
In the show now. Everything sucks. Let's go.
No. We can actually make this show 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Because the stuff that's worth talking about is worth talking about on this show. Stuff like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory versus the OC. You could describe it as best as you want, Rick. People will hear those names and know what happened. It was a roll-up, foot on the rope finish.
I forget.
It was a match.
I did forget about the foot on the ropes. You're right. What do we think about the video package for Braun Breaker tonight? I like the presentation of changing what they're doing. At least they're making an attempt to do more interesting things. I like the bringing the sports science into this about what he can do physically, athletically. Felt like I was watching a college football highlight package on draft night, Dutch.
Yep. Well, sometimes, see, we've just seen guys do that spear and get the win. I think that is something that's just been kind of overused, really. I would give this guy.
Goldberg would agree.
That's what I'm saying. Him and who else that uses that. But he needs, I don't know. I didn't watch him in NXT. Does he have a personality?
Yes.
Okay. They need to be really, I think, concentrating on that. Because sometimes, when you give them those quick wins, and then when they get into a match where it's got to go some time, that blows that out of the water.
Nah, he's proven himself to have some stamina on him when he has to work like a main event level matchup. He's been in there with like the likes of like an Ilya Dragunov and a Carmelo Hayes, and he's had main event level matchups and some great matches in the main event with like Tyler Bate and guys like that. So I think that he's going to be capable of that. I think they're doing the right steps with like building up that he's just this force of nature and it's all about the statistics and the science of his high impact offense. And this video package I thought was really well done, and I like more of this until after WrestleMania, because it feels like that's what they're doing. They're holding them off until after WrestleMania. They've introduced them, had them have like 2 matches, and now they're having video packages to kind of hype them up because the real push starts in a couple of weeks.
Our next match of the night was Io Sky versus Naomi. Interesting. We get Io taking her sweet time to come out tonight, and we find out it's because she's attacking Bayley and taking her out of the equation before the match even starts. I like that tonight. Naomi looked like she tweaked her quad a little bit on the top rope spin kick early in the match. She was kind of, rubbing and flexing it a little bit, but she looked fine afterwards because they come back from break. It looked like the ref was checking on her. before they go to break. And then we come back, and she's just kicking ass with all of her lower body offense. She's hitting top rope. That top rope split drop that she does looks so goddamn painful every single time that she does it. But she did it flawlessly tonight. She did a step up in Saguri, superplex. She was looking great. Io ends up getting the win, though, after a distraction from Damage Control, which we all knew was coming. Io hits the over the moonsault for the win. I don't mind the finish. What I mind is
what I minded was the match.
No, I thought the match was good too. The problem that I have, SP3, is that
yo, Dutch is wild.
That was good.
Dutch was like, I can't deal with it. He's like,
go ahead.
I gotta get my rocks off on this.
Yeah, this wasn't even a bad match, so I don't know why
it wasn't. But that's why I'm laughing at Dutch.
So here's my question, or here's my issue. Naomi goes from hero to zero with one move, and I get it's a finishing maneuver, but she gets pushed off the top rope, over the top moonsault, and she's done. Like, I would have liked to have seen, instead of like some kind of can somebody hit her with something? Could she have been hit with a mist beforehand or something to cause some kind of an injury here before one move and she's done and she's beaten? I get it's a finisher and finishers are supposed to be protecting all this stuff. It's just a nitpick for me. I enjoyed a lot of this.
This is the second time on this podcast, folks, that Rick Ucchino said something, but he didn't put the period in the right place. Naomi went from hero to zero. That's a great description of her WWE return so far.
I mean, she's taking a lot of L's, Dutch.
She's taking all L's. All she's taking is she won the qualifier for the Elimination Chamber. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're waiting on the angle with Bianca to see what happens there, and let's see if it takes off. So I don't know. They're going to have to show me. That's what I think is happening right now. They're just trying to just keep them out there, keep them in everybody's view. And of course, the fans got to overlook their stuff like we do. They're there. So hopefully they do something with her, which I'm sure they will. I think when they do it, whether it will mean something.
I'm suspecting that this is leading to Naomi and Bianca teaming at WrestleMania against the Kabuki Warriors and hopefully winning to continue Bianca's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. And once again, you could say Naomi's won tag team title gold at WrestleMania. So it works dual in that way.
I think they're going to use her really good when Jade Cargill comes in and goes against Bianca. That's what I think you'll see Naomi heavily involved in that.
Yeah. After the match tonight, we did see Damage Control swarm Naomi. Asuka hits her with the Misk. Bianca comes out all, hot and heavy, and she's beating him up before the numbers game catches up. Crowd chants for Bayley, but she was already taken out, so Damage Control stands tall. We come back from a commercial break, and we hear that Jade Cargill has officially signed with SmackDown, and her first appearance is next week. Immediately, SP3, I'm seeing people on social media saying, it's not going to be a tag team match for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. They're thinking it's going to be a 6-woman tag, putting Dakota in on one side and having Jade Cargill be in the 6-woman tag as a partner with Bianca and Naomi at WrestleMania.
I could see that as well. That maybe that's the reason why they're having her
debut
2 weeks before WrestleMania.
Isn't Jade leaning more toward being a heel? And she has a baby face or not? Did I miss all this?
No. The way she was presented at Royal Rumble was definitely as a baby face.
Yeah, she took out Nia Jax.
She came in and she had the spot to take down Nia Jax after Nia Jax was the monster heel of the matchup.
Okay.
I think she's just going to be Jade Cargill. Like, honestly. Like, I mean, yeah, she could be babyface. She could be a heel. I think she's just there to kick everybody's ass. And if you cheer for her, great. And if you don't, whatever. You're going to get, she's going to get a crowd reaction regardless.
Okay, in your head,
yes,
where should she be used the best for the most effect right off the bat?
That's tough. because they got a lot of no. Because seriously,
they do. It is.
We want to sit here and nitpick about Naomi not winning any matches. Now, granted, they have been protecting her a lot. She hasn't lost clean a whole lot, but an L is an L at the end of the day. And all anybody from a year from now is going to look at the loss sheet and go, "Oh, she lost like her first 12 matches or whatever it was when she came back, or 12."
Wait a minute. Who is going to do that?
People like me who write articles a year later.
That's what I'm saying.
And
she lost her 12 matches.
And do research like I did with Bailey when I looked up her win-loss record over the last 2 years, which was bad, by the way. But I digress, right? I think you run into an issue here. They have so many women on SmackDown now that you're going to have people screaming, they need to push her. They need to push her. They need to push Tiffany Stratton. They need to push Naomi. They need to push Bianca. They need to push Bailey. They need to push Dakota. They need to push this. You can't push everybody at one time. So it's really tough to sit here and say, but you get what I'm saying though, right? Like they have so many high-end, like I almost feel like they need the draft because they need to separate these rosters out.
You should be happy as hell with all these girls over there.
I am, but it is a difficult. Dutch, let me ask you this: as somebody who has booked shows, when you have that stacked of a roster, you can't push everybody at one time. So how do you prioritize things?
You can push them out the door. Out the door.
I think that
me. They got a good roster now.
Yeah, I think that WWE has done a much better job of connecting everything and making a whole bunch of stables so they can use a lot more people and people have stories or something going on where they can be involved and be a presence on the show right now. So I like the fact that they got that going on there. To answer Dutch's question about how do you use Jade Cargill, like I said, I think that is very interesting. They're having her debut 2 weeks before WrestleMania. So I would assume they're going to have some type of angle next week to set up a WrestleMania matchup for her. So either you saw the suggestion in the chat of a Nia Jax. Maybe you have a Nia Jax come over from Raw to SmackDown and interrupt her big moment and have a big Raw versus SmackDown women's showcase matchup where you can have two women's matchups on both nights of WrestleMania. Or you have Jade Cargill just get involved into the main program for the SmackDown Women's Division right now, where you have Jade come out as the big new presence on the SmackDown roster, and Damage Control come out as the dominant faction of the Women's Division on SmackDown, and they're trying to recruit Jade Cargill to their faction, and then that's how you could get everybody else involved: Bailey, Bianca Belair, Naomi.
That would work. I think leave her right where she is, right in the middle right now. Let her wrestle babyface girls, and let the fans are going to choose it anyway.
Yeah.
So you got to check the temperature in the room. If they want her to be a babyface, you got to make her a babyface. But then you got to make some heels, because her going out there and beating nobody with no heat, that will kill you worse than the people not giving a crap about you, being in nothing happening matches.
And I think that's part of the issue is you have all this, the only heels you have are Damage Control. So everybody else is all got a feud with Damage Control because you have all of the heels in one faction right now. Roland Curtis with a super chat. Always appreciate that. Says maybe fans think that Belair is turning heel because Belair and Bailey, similar to McIntyre, recently keeping Jey Uso accountable. Babyface Belair is stale. SP3, you agree with that final statement?
I can understand where you can make that connection and say that it's similar. I don't, because Drew definitely did it in a more condescending and heelish manner of holding Jay accountable, and he did it in promos in front of the fans as well, where Bianca is just interacting with Bailey. This is the first time she's really interacted with Bailey and held her accountable to her face. It was weeks upon weeks of Drew doing it to Jay's face that got him the heel heat that's made him a top heel right now.
See, if you don't have heels, you don't have baby faces.
Yeah.
Those heels, they got to be we got to be thinking, I wish somebody would shut him up or embarrass him or beat him or whatever. See, a good heel can make a babyface in one match. If he's got enough heat on him, he can make him then and there. but you turn that around, the babyface really can't make the heel. The heel has to make the babyface. So you got to get these heels over, get them over strong, and then use them to elevate your baby faces.
And I think what you just described is my main issue with Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso right now. It feels like a whole feud where the babyface is doing all the work to get a response from the fans, and Jimmy, he's doing good work on the mic. He's doing good character work. You just gave him no credibility. I feel also a thing that heels need is you need to win. I don't care how you win. You just I need to see you win to be like, okay, this guy can compete with this guy in the ring. He could find a way. He'll cheat his way to beat him. I have no type of like doubt that Jey Uso is going to beat Jimmy Uso, but I feel Jimmy Uso needs to beat Jey Uso because Jimmy needs it more. So it's very confusing.
Enthusiastic Railline streamer, appreciate the super chat. There's no comment here.
That was to me.
Hey, he put a comment right underneath if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go. How did you guys feel about Roman Reigns and Cody tonight? We ran down that at the beginning of the show tonight.
Where have you been?
Just to do a quick little recap.
It sucked.
It was okay at best. Could have been a lot better. Again, for me, I think you can't go from Rock, you're a bitch, and you got little dick energy to, oh, I'm number one and you're number two. Like I just, it was a bit of a ramp down.
Number one and number two. I thought they were going to the bathroom for a while.
I gave enthusiastic Railline streamer. I gave it a solid C+.
I gave it about a C.
Yeah. They passed.
It could have been a lot better. Thank you.
We're also comparing them. What'd that guy say?
He said, "You guys rock, and I love the channel."
Oh, I thought rock. I thought I read it something else.
He's like the Wayne?
Lowercase rock, not big case rock. Okay.
Yeah, but see, I think tonight we were disappointed because we're comparing it to the Rock's concert last week, which was highly entertaining.
So it's not just me, Dutch. I want to ask you something. Is The Rock is his character and what he does so nuclear hot that everything else on this show by comparison feels cold?
Possibly.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm sorry. Like the more and more I've been watching WWE, I'm like, yo, what The Rock is doing, that's what you got to watch. You must watch that. I've been telling people who don't watch WWE usually even that type of stuff. But everything else, I'm like, Well,
we've seen it before. But The Rock, now he's bringing back Attitude Era 2. And the people are picking up on it and they're liking it. Now TKO said, "Oh, you can't use this language, and you can't stop it. You get
unless you're The Rock or you're going up against The Rock."
And yeah, and I read something.
Was able to get away with what he said on Monday, but then we come back here to Roman and Cody tonight, and it's, "Oh, you're a politician, and you're the greatest number 2 of all time, and I'm going to be the one to beat you."
He didn't need to do all of that. He was going against Roman Reigns. He'll bring that when he's going against The Rock. Why would he use the material that he has for The Rock against Roman Reigns? It's two different types of beasts. I think the missteps here was if you're going to do the whole number 1 to number 2, I would have liked Roman Reigns to name drop some people. Be like, well, Seth was a number 2 before you, and he must have not been that good because you took his spot.
So where did all that stuff go? Where did that go? Roman, he can knock everybody and compare Cody to anybody. What happened to the family knocks he was doing last week? Yeah, I thought he would bring up something about that. Said I've done.
He can say even your dad was a number 2 to Ric Flair. If the whole structure, if the whole premise of the promo is number 1 versus number 2, you've been name dropping this whole feud from last year. Y'all been name dropping people like Dusty and people from the past and legends. If you're going to do a 1 versus 2 type promo, you needed to establish who's the ones and who's the twos. Why is Cody that and you're this? Like, that's what he should have done. I thought that if that was the structure of the promo, he should have been name dropping that. And I think it would have pulled it all together. And we would have been all on here being like, oh, this is a really good promo to add to this really good build.
It's very, very fair.
I'm agreeing with that. I think he should have stayed on the mama or the family or Dusty, because now we know what he's doing. He's trying to get him upset and get him thinking about that, so his mind won't be totally on the match.
So tonight seemed more like a pissing contest of who can outsmart the other person. Like that, the whole showing up alone thing and no, I actually brought backup thing. It seemed like an unnecessary pivot.
But Dutch, I just came up with that. See, you need to tell WWE how good I am at this. I just had an idea. I'm pitching it to you in the writers' room here, because you have Roman say all of that.
I'm gonna call him. I swear to God, I'm gonna call him right now and leave the message.
You have all
you need to listen to Sid.
You have Roman established who's the ones and who's the two, and then Cody flips it back on him and says, your cousin is actually the greatest number 2 because Stone Cold was number 1. So like Stone Cold at WrestleMania, I'm gonna beat you like Austin used to beat your cousin. He could have flipped it on him. That's how you flip it on him at the end.
Yeah, what happened to all those? I mean, those would have worked. And then give it time to breathe so the crowd can react. And now you got Roman thinking. Now it goes back and forth. Now that's how you build it. But they didn't call me, so I didn't give them my ideas.
They weren't listening to True Heel Heat this week either. Maybe they'll watch the show tonight and get some ideas. Are we a little? Okay, let me just phrase it this way. What do we think about them still leaning into Tiffany Stratton as a heel, considering the massive crowd reactions that she's been getting lately?
I think they're walking that line. And I think they won't do anything drastic because they don't need to do anything drastic, because if she can be a heel right up to the point they turn her. And I don't think they're going to put massive heat on her, but she's a star. Everybody can see that she's a star.
Yeah.
If it's not effed up, don't mess with it. Leave it alone right now. And let it take its own course.
What I think this could set up, SP3, is everybody's looking at Bayley, or again, those people, right? You want to talk about Bayley being the catalyst for turning Bianca heel. What about Tiffany being the catalyst for turning Bianca heel? Those two seem destined to have a program with one another after WrestleMania is over. That could naturally lead to a double turn down the line.
Could do that, and then Bianca becoming heel also helps out with the future Jade feud that they probably want to do as well. I haven't heard of this massive reactions for Tiffany Stratton. I just thought she got a massive reaction in Australia.
She's
getting cheered at all the shows.
She's done nothing at this point.
Yeah, I barely see her. I see her like in a match every other week. She gets some pops, but it's not like she's getting the biggest pops in a night. I feel like when we say massive reactions, we're talking like LA Knight at this time last year. LA Knight at this time last year.
I missed. She's not getting heel reaction. She has an extremely annoying, nitpicking character that should piss people off, and it doesn't. They're looking straight through her character, and they're cheering her in-ring ability.
Well, another point of that is that, let's be real here, SmackDown has no really strong baby faces on the women's side. As someone pointed out in the chat, and you pointed out earlier, some fans want Bianca Belair to be heel because they feel her babyface character is stale. Bayley, it was one of the most beloved baby faces of all time, but she's coming off of being a heel for 4 years, and I think fans are still getting used to Bayley the baby face again. And then Naomi, she could be a great baby face for you, but you've been having her lose every week. There's no real strong baby faces for Tiffany to play her character against and get heat against. So yeah, I expect the fans to be like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton over Meechin. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton over. Oh, look, come on. Yeah, of course. Of course they're going to cheer. Yeah, Tiffany Stratton over Zelina Vega. Yeah, I'm sorry. They have not cared about the Meechins and the Zelina Vega. These are very talented women that they have not cared about for a very long time. They seem to care about Tiffany, so the fans are going to care about Tiffany.
What about Rey? Where do you see her?
Who?
What's her name? Ripley?
Rhea Ripley?
Oh, Rhea. She's the most over woman in the entire roster. Like, hands down.
So what is she? Is she a
people
heel
were
or
booing.
babyface?
People were booing Becky Lynch when she was in the ring with Rhea Ripley. That tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm. It does.
She really is. Does. She will be. Honestly, she might take Roman's spot as like the top person in the company when Roman drops the title. Like, in all seriousness, I think she's that way. But she needs
it would take something. I don't know if it. I don't even know if it's like a great match or a great promo.
She needs more great opponents. She needs to start racking up those big marquee.
I don't think it's that. I think it's she needs another big star to go against. And, you know, Becky Lynch is a big star to go against. And I think that in the future, when they finally do it, it's going to be Rhea Ripley, the babyface, versus Bianca Belair, the heel at WrestleMania.
Maybe they actually start building toward that for next year. All right, guys,
it's too soon. It's too soon. I think
the whole year.
No, I think they're saving that.
I agree with Sid.
They're saving that, Rick. You have to look how things are coming together here. Rhea Ripley, dominant world champion. What does Bianca Belair have to bring to the play to first Rhea Ripley at a WrestleMania? Oh yeah, Bianca Belair is undefeated at WrestleMania. But guess what, guys? She's only 3-0. Like, you have to wait. You have to wait to do that. You have to get her at least 2 more wins, 1 more win, at least 4-0 at WrestleMania. Like, 3-0, who cares?
Yeah, she's got to win this year. Yeah, like whatever tag match that she's in, she's got to win.
But that's why I said it's got to be 42 because 5-0 versus the champion. And yeah, you got to make some other people. I don't know if they could do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're talking about a year with Rhea Ripley. That's way in the past. I would go for those 2 and 3 year runs now. I mean, stretch it out, put it out there. What do you think about that, Rick?
Dutch, that's the thing. That's the thing. Dutch is 100% on the money. That's the thing that's going to take Rhea Ripley from the number 1.
Did he freeze on you, Rick?
Yeah, I think he did. I'm having some headphone issues here. You guys are cutting in and out because my connection is. We got all kinds of technical issues here. Hopefully, Sid will come back.
I love that. Look at that face on Sid.
Screen grab that. Somebody screen grab that. We can all do it.
We need that. I'll do it right here. I got to get it.
Real quick here, Dutch. We got a super chat here from Roland. Is Roman inadvertently? So there's SP3. You froze there for a minute. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
I know. I realized.
Is Roman inadvertently being buried as a top heel? I don't think buried is the right word. I just think bringing in TheRock, he overshadows everybody.
Overshadow. I wouldn't say being buried, but when you bring in TheRock, he's going to overshadow everybody. I don't care who they are.
Another super chat here from MZ. His comment coming afterwards.
Zeb. What's his name?
Zed. This man's smart. He paid the $2 and he was realized I don't got enough characters for this. That's smart, man. I appreciate the effort and appreciate the super chat.
He says, if MJF is available and made a shocking debut at WrestleMania 40, how would Dutch book it? I'd love MJF to tease helping Cody, screw Cody, and close WrestleMania 40 with Roman Reigns, Rock, Heyman, MJF hugging, surrounded by the rest of the Anoa'i family. How would you book MJF coming into WWE? Dutch?
He's already booked it. It'll work. Do it just like that, Mr. Zed. Hey, did any money come along with this little chat note.
Yes.
Oh, what $1.99? Come on, Zed. At least make that a $5.99 question.
What did we think about LA Knight getting arrested tonight after showing up at AJ Styles' house here, guys?
Well, I liked it. Little corny a little bit, but it's different. I like those out of the studio, out of the building stuff. And it fits him to a T to show up like that and do something crazy. I mean, I think it worked. Made AJ look pretty good. Then he got arrested, and I liked it.
I loved LA Knight just screaming at the cops. I hope you guys get paid overtime because I'm going to be back next week if he don't show up at SmackDown.
No, it was great. I appreciate their efforts in how they shot this. They tried to make it look as realistic as possible in comparison to like the old 90s. Well, it was very reminiscent of the 1996 Stone Cold home invasion of Brian Pillman. The first part of it, not the inside part of it with Pillman's got up a gun, but how Austin came up to the house.
You still remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, to this day, I remember Austin coming up and beating up Brian Pillman's friends who were trying to protect them inside the house. That's how LA Knight pulled up on the house on AJ Styles. We even got a special cameo from Wendy. This was my second favorite thing on the show. Outside of the Bianca and Bailey and Naomi backstage stuff, LA Knight and how this shot, I appreciate the effort for how unique it was shot.
Yeah, I loved how the WWE cameras kind of dropped off almost immediately. And then they cut to the body cam footage from the cops. And those look like real police officers. It looks like they called up the local PD and said, hey, y'all want to help us shoot this thing and make it look legit as possible. And they're like, yeah, we got some off-duty units we can set over. We'll arrest LA Knight for you. No problem. No problem whatsoever. And then even just the simple little touch of coming back from commentary and Corey Graves saying AJ Styles later on decided not to press charges against LA Knight. No notes. Honestly, no notes on this one. They thought of everything. All the loopholes were closed. AJ Styles now has a reason to show up next week on Friday Night SmackDown. This is one of the best feuds they got cooking heading into WrestleMania. This actually feels like it's got some heat to it a little bit.
One
of the better ones, excuse me. One of the better ones. Let me
say. Wait. Let's not go too far with they had one good week. Last week, me and
AJ Styles flew all the way across the damn universe.
Okay, you hit this man with a steel chair. You can describe it however you want. He went to Australia to cost him Elimination Chamber. Congratulations. No one really cares. No one really cares about that because we don't care about AJ Styles being upset at LA Knight replacing him in a tag team match because that's why he's mad. We don't care about that. Now they've given us a reason to care. They finally gave us a reason to care 3 months into this damn feud.
That is true.
Why are you yelling at me so much tonight?
Who?
You keep yelling at me. Every time I say something, you just got to fucking yell at me tonight.
No,
you missed me that much over the last 2 weeks?
How did we go from AJ Styles and LA Knight's one of the coldest feuds to you said it was one of the hottest? I was like, what?
You're one of the ones saying you're bored by everything on the damn show.
Yeah, they finally entertained me. We know that's not how that works. You don't go from very ice cold to one of the hottest.
I haven't been as ice cold on this as you have. We're allowed to have differences of opinions.
That literally means everything else is really cold too. This is one of the hottest feuds. Dutch, can you support me here? Because you were with me last week. This was ice cold.
No.
I didn't.
I like the thing with AJ and
me too
tonight. I liked it. At least it's not so predictable. That's how you build characters. And Knight doesn't need much. He'll make himself just put him out there and let him go.
Dutch, I am curious. Do you buy the criticism of some that with TheRock being around, LA Knight seems like a copycat?
I don't see TheRock in LA Knight. I see Stone Cold, more than I see TheRock.
It's really Stone Cold's delivery with the Rock style. Like the Rock style of promo of I'll hit you with the one line here and I'll hit you with a punch line here. But it's Stone Cold's delivery. So I don't see how he's like a Rock copycat or a Rock wannabe.
Mm-hmm. First time I saw him, I thought of Austin instead of thinking about Rock. I didn't even think about Rock at all.
Excuse me. Sorry. Last thing we haven't touched on yet was the Street Profits versus AOP. Any thoughts on that? All right, SP3, what you got going on True Heel Heat this week?
You can follow me on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. We're going live tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. The True Heel Heat Flash Hit podcast going over the week in wrestling that was. We had the New Japan Cup final. You had AEW Dynamite in Toronto with Copeland and Christian. You had WWE with Rock and not here and not as hot with Cody and Roman by themselves. So we'll talk about all of that. True Heel Heat Flash Hit podcast.
That's what you got going on.
Well, anybody wants to get a hold of me is Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. I would like to announce that my subscriber list has now hit 115,000. That's actually pretty good, I think. And we just go on and we just talk just like we're doing here, like we're in the car going down the road, telling each other how stupid they are for having a stupid thought, but it's done, just having a good time. But this is the way a lot of things are done in wrestling. You just throw it back and forth, and the guys argue and bitch. But then at the end of the trip, they said, we may have an idea here. And when they get it together, and there's a lot of angles being pitched that way, they get the idea in the car and then go pitch it to, when Vince was the boss, they would pitch it to Vince. Now with Triple H, they pitch it to him or to one of the writers. And that's how things are done. So I'm proud of my subscriber list. I do 2 shows a week, and it's on YouTube, Storytime with Dutch. And it's I don't know what the name of the other one is. I think it's Ask Dutch Anything. So, and I'm going to write my own question, and I'm going to say, what do you think about those 2 guys with you on that Sports Keeda show? And I've got to tell the truth, guys. I'll just tell the truth. So, but I want to tell you that we did miss you last week.
I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that my voice.
I think you should have used. I think you should have used a better excuse than all of a sudden they run over a transformer down the street. And I've used that so many times.
Oh, have you?
Oh, a lot. I've used everything. What are you going to be doing? Honestly, he don't even know. See,
I'm taking it easy this weekend. I got some stuff to write. And that's
I wanted to ask Dutch something real quick. Dutch, what do you think about Ronda Rousey shooting on the WWE?
I love that. Well, she was shooting on him toward the end anyway. What I was saying, man, that's pretty strong for her to be saying that. So I knew it was wrapping up. So if they'd have got on to her, she said, hey, if you keep on, I'm going to get stronger with it.
She flat out called him a shit show this week backstage and said that, she has no plans whatsoever on coming back to WWE. The other thing, she really railed on the WWE culture pre-2016, pre-2008, like going back to the Attitude Era, the Divas era, where it was bra and panties matches and this, that, and the other thing, and they were valets, and it was the over-sexualized culture. Did not have a lot of flattering things to say about Vince or John Laurinaitis or Bruce Pritchard.
Mm-hmm.
No, she did not.
Okay, what I want to know is who hit on Ronda Rousey? That's what I want to know. She could be mad about that shit.
Well, I'll say this much. I know a lot of what she was pissed off about because I had a chance to talk to her this week, and that interview will be dropping on Monday. So make sure to check.
Oh, I want to hear this. See how you softball those questions to her.
Oh,
Did she have any hard questions, or did you say, "Well, tell me, Rhonda, blah blah blah"? Would you do
Here's
that?
the thing, Dutch. Here's the thing. I didn't have to ask hard questions.
Oh, she just volunteered it.
Oh yeah, she had no freaking issues, none whatsoever. I didn't have to pry anything out of her.
Okay, tell us something she said that you think the fans will really be interested in, because you would probably really interested in it yourself. So what did you like about the interview you did with her?
Look, I will just say that she was very open and honest, and she went into verbatim
Detail?
what was what her issues were with her second run as opposed to her first one. She told me why she came back for the second run. She told me why the second run was such a disappointment, and she told me why she almost quit during her second run. So all of those details will be available on Monday. Just follow me on Twitter. It'll be my
What time
page
does
post.
it drop?
I'm shooting for 10 a.m., but that's up to my editor. So shooting for 10 a.m.
I'm gonna listen. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't. But I would listen to that one with you and Rhonda. And not because of you, because of what she's gonna say. Since you promote it so well. Is it explosive? Let me ask you this. Will it make headlines?
I think so. Yes, I think a lot of it will. One last super chat here from Swazi.
Swazi.
Yeah. Said John Cena. John Cena was,
I think he was naked. Is Cody going to be another John Cena? Is it going to get old fast with him as the top babyface? I believe is what he's trying to ask here.
What do you think, Dutch?
I think okay, it's like this. I think Cena sometimes made his angles. I think them kidding Cody about the mama and all this stuff. I think, a lot of people might look at that and say, yeah, it's not appealing to them. It's what I'm saying. And if they don't watch Cody, he can almost turn heel on them quick if they don't watch him. So, when the guy's talking about his mom and this, and I get that, but you didn't see Cena talking about his mama. He talked about his dad a little bit, but that's different. So I think Cody, we may see a heel run in him in about 2 years. I think the people might be so fed up with him, they said, please, somebody does stomp the living crap out of him.
If that means we get more dark suit Cody promos, I would be all for it. One last super chat here from Roland Curtis. Ronda Rousey definitely buried the WWE. She definitely buried her experience.
Oh, come on, Roland. They're trying to make a rebound here. Lighten up a little bit.
All right. We will see you guys next week, Friday night, 10:10. We are almost at WrestleMania. That'll be the go home to the go home show for Friday night SmackDown.